Razabani for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. I'm delighted to have with me legend of a trainer himself, Robert Garcia. Robert, firstly, how are we doing? How's Fresno treating you?
Thanks for having me. Fresno's nice, man. Fresno is like, being at our hometown. Mostly Latinos, Mexican Americans. Pretty well known over here in Fresno, and people love boxing, so we feel like right at home.
No, absolutely. Good to finally get back out. I know you got a couple of fighters on the card, which we'll go through in a minute, but good to finally get out and live crowd. You don't need to come here and quarantine and have COVID restrictions. It's almost like back to normality.
Right, that's what we were waiting for. For over a year. It was pretty bad. Even though some of my fighters stayed busy, but it was not the same, having to go through all the other restrictions, the bubbles and stuff like that. It was difficult, it was difficult just to go to a location wherever the fight was, knowing that we're going to be stuck in a room. They're going to be knocking at our doors to give us our food, stuff like that. Well, it just wasn't fun. But I'm glad we're back. The crowds are coming. The fights are getting with fans and everything. So it's going to be exciting.
No, and I echo your words, because when they knock on your door and give you food and then give you a time slot when you can go to the gym and stuff like that. But that's all done with. We're moving forward. We're back out here. Let's talk about Mikey Garcia first. Obviously, he's been one of your main fighters. Obviously, he's your brother as well. So good to see him finally get out as well.
You know what? We're glad that he's getting back in the ring. Mikey's a different type of fighter. He never gets too excited about his fights. He doesn't care if he fights often or not. He could wait a year and a half, 2 years without a fight. But that's just the way Mikey is. When he's in the gym, he trains, he's dedicated, and he gives it his best. But he's one of those fighters that wants to do it once every year and a half, 2 years. And that's just the way he is. But we're excited that he's back. This fight's going to help him get back into rhythm, get rid of some ring rust, and hopefully we could get into something big next.
I spoke to Mikey about an hour ago, and we spoke about Sandro Martin. But before that, I said Regis Prograis obviously was calling you out, you was calling him out. There's a lot of back and forth. Everyone thought that was the fight next. Ideally, would you have wanted Regis next, or did you want him to go through a Sandro Martin first? No disrespect to Sandro Martin, but go through a Sandro Martin, get rid of that ring rust, and then maybe a Regis afterwards. You know what?
We wanted to go right into Regis Prograis, but I guess the business side of boxing, the budget, the money, because Regis is also a really good fighter that demands a great payday. So same thing with Mikey. So I from what I understand, that was the problem. The budget wasn't there. So they told Mikey, look, the budget against Regis is not available. But if you want to take a stay busy fight, do it. But Mikey wasn't going to do this, man. I'm telling you, Mikey was not going to do this stay busy fight. He was going to just wait for a big fight, a Regis Prograis fight later the year, maybe early next year. But we kind of convinced him, and he kind of forced himself to take the fight, because he learned and found out that Jesse, his teammate Jesse Rodriguez, was fighting for the world title. So that kind of motivated him to keep the fight, so Jesse could fight for the title.
Is it also hard for someone like Mikey to stay motivated? Again, no disrespect to Sandro Martin, but he's 33, Mikey, 4-division world champion. He's fought the very best. He's achieved so much. He could retire now and he'll be a Hall of Fame fighter. So is it hard for him at this age, at this stage of his career, if he doesn't have those top level fights, to come out and perform at top level?
You look, to be honest with you, like you said, no disrespect to Martin, but Mikey's the type of person, the type of fighter that doesn't want this type of fights. He doesn't like. He doesn't motivate himself with this type of fights, and we don't want to take anything away from Martin. We know he's probably in the best shape of his life. He's probably trained like never before. It's a big opportunity for him, but for Mikey, it really doesn't motivate him. But I told you the reason he took the fight because Jesse's on the card and he wants Jesse to fight, even though the champion had visa problems and we're not fighting for the title, but that was the big reason, the main reason Mikey stayed in the fight to keep the show going for Jesse. So he loves his team and he'll support his team 100%. So we're here. We're gonna have a great show. I know the fans are gonna show up. Mikey's gonna have a great performance. Martin's gonna give Mikey a great fight because he's a tough guy. He's hungry and he's gonna come to give it his all and try to win the fight. So I'm not saying the fight's gonna be easy, but we know Mikey very well, and Mikey wants nothing but big fights.
From your perspective, what else is there left for Mikey to achieve? I spoke to him earlier and he said, listen, I want to be around the 140 pounds. That's my best weight. In terms of opponents, he mentioned Josh Taylor, Gervonta Davis, maybe a Teofimo Lopez if he moves up. But from your perspective, what else does he have left to achieve?
I'm glad he also told you guys that 140 is probably where he belongs, because we all told him and we all try to convince him that 147 is not his weight division, but he's a little stubborn. He also wanted to challenge himself to that 5th division world title, and did it. Failed, but nothing to be ashamed of. He's already a 4th division champion. I think 140 is where he belongs. He doesn't have to prove anything else because he already is a 4th division champion. There's only like five fighters from the United States that have accomplished that. There's another 4 or 5 from Mexico, but all legends. From Thomas Hearns to Oscar De La Hoya, Sugar Ray Leonard. Very few have accomplished what Mikey has accomplished too. So Mikey could already retire and already be a legend, but he wants more. There's like you mentioned, like he mentioned to you, the Josh Taylor, who is undisputed. That's the fight that I would love to be able to get with Mikey. Teofimo Lopez also plans on moving up in weight. Those are huge fights. Tank Davis is probably the biggest name out there right now, already headlining pay-per-views. I think that would be a huge fight also. I'm glad he mentioned 140 and not 147, because that's where we want him to be, 140. And I'm glad he's already talking about it, because he does want to be remembered as one of the best.
Obviously, let's talk about Jesse Rodriguez. Obviously, he's fighting for a world title as well. You've had a few world titles come in and out of your gym over the years, but another big moment for yourself as well, and an opportunity for Jesse to become a world champion.
Look, Jesse's one of my fighters that I could really say special. We have, I have in my gym the Virgil Ortiz, who is a tremendous, welterweight, one of the best welterweights in the division right now. The moment that he gets a world title, he'll become world champion. But talent-wise and skills, the way he boxes inside the ring, I think Jesse's one of those special ones, man. He's a lot smaller than most of them, so those weight divisions don't get too much attention. But once Jesse wins his title at 108, then moves up to 112, I think this kid is easily a 4, 5, 6 division champion. He's not very short either, so I think he could probably fight up to featherweight, and that's already, we're talking five divisions, 5, maybe even junior lightweight, because he's that good. He's that special, and I think he's going to be one of those kids that 2, 3 fights from now, they're going to be mentioning him amongst pound for pound the best fighters in the world, because his skills are that good.
Well, Robert, we'll wish you all the best with Mikey and Jesse on the weekend. Just before I let you go, just a couple of other things that are going on in the sport of boxing. I'm sure you watched the great heavyweight fight on Saturday. Just wanted to get your thoughts on Tyson Fury's performance as the winner, and obviously Deontay Wilder's performance as well.
Great fight. One of the best heavyweight fights I've ever seen. Both of them deserve all the respect and credit. Obviously, Tyson Fury came out with the win, and he's the best heavyweight in the world right now. He's probably one that's going to be difficult to beat. But Wilder also, the way he fought, he was dead tired after the 5th round and still kept fighting, still kept throwing punches. It was one of the best heavyweight fights of all times. I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad heavyweight boxing is back. For a good 20, 30 years, here in the United States, heavyweight boxing was not big at all, and I'm glad that it's back because that really helps boxing. The fans, the people, once heavyweights are headlining big cards, the fans follow boxing, and it becomes a bigger sport. And I'm glad heavyweight is back to the way it was 30 years ago with Tyson and Holyfield and Holmes and all those big names.
Rob, obviously Tyson Fury's got some big fights that he could have back in the UK. Dylan White is his mandatory potentially if he beats Otto Wallin, Anthony Joshua, Alexander Usyk, etc. What about Deontay Wilder? He's 36, but we know heavyweights go on for a lot longer, into their 40s. But how much positive actions can Deontay Wilder take from his loss, because he's still a force in the heavyweight division?
Oh, he's definitely still a force. I think with him, it's better if maybe they pick 1 or 2 fights before anything huge, just to get him another quick, 1 or 2 wins, so he could get his confidence back. But the main thing that I think he needs to work is his conditioning. For whatever reason it was, he got tired after 5 rounds, and it's hard to see a world-class fighter with the type of fight that he was in. The whole world was watching, and it kind of hurts to see a fighter get tired so easy. Tyson Fury did not get tired. Tyson Fury was still boxing, and still, you see Anthony Joshua fighting 12 rounds, even though he lost the last fight, still fighting, still, still moving around, still throwing punches. I think with Wilder, for whatever reason it was, I don't know his camp. I don't know what happened throughout his camp, but he needs to work on his conditioning, and I think working on that will make him a much better fighter and still be a threat to anybody in the heavyweight division.
Canelo Plant, obviously, we've never had an undisputed super middleweight champion in the history of the sport of boxing. Canelo wants to achieve greatness. I spoke earlier to Mikey and Khalil Ko about someone like Canelo who is setting the benchmark. He's a multi-millionaire. He could retire tomorrow. He's got a great legacy, but he continues to want to achieve greatness, and he's a great example to all the fighters that are coming up.
Right. Look, what we see in Canelo, already making so much money per fight, already having all the money in the world, and still training like a beginner, like a hungry person. That has to motivate any other boxer, including Mikey, who has also had great fights, great paydays, but knowing somebody like Canelo, the way he trains, and being that he's Mexican, it motivates us as trainers, motivates Mikey as a fighter to be able to do things with hunger, even though he doesn't have to. He could already retire and live the rest of his life, comfortable, but he wants to accomplish much. He wants to be the first Mexican to become undisputed, and I think he will. I think he will by knockout, and he's gonna want more and more. That motivates all the fighters, especially Mexican Americans who see what Canelo's doing. It helps them all, motivate themselves too to accomplish even more. You can't just grow a tree, and once it's giving you all the fruit in the world, and you're gonna let all the fruit run. You gotta take advantage of the moment. You gotta pick every fruit out there to the end, and that's what Canelo's doing.
Okay, well, Robert, thank you so much for giving me a little bit of your time. Wish you all the best for the rest of the week. Enjoy Fresno and the environment here, and I'm sure we'll catch up after fight night on Saturday.
Awesome, thank you very much.
Robert Garcia for IFL TV. Thank you very much.
Thank you.